Hey, everybody. I hope that you're all doing well this morning. I'm up in Washington, D.C., got the family with me, not right here in the office, but I want to cover a little bit about what's going on in Washington. Probably to a lot of people watching it on the news, looks like a level of chaos and power struggle and, what's happening in Congress. And I want to discuss all of that and about why it's so important, because there really is an important battle going on here in Washington. This battle going on hasn't even allowed us to be sworn in yet as the new class of members of Congress coming in. But to talk about this from the top line issues and why this is so important, I want to talk about, I'm going to use a specific term that I would call decentralizing power out of the Speaker's office. Now, whether the Speaker of the House of Representatives is Nancy Pelosi, who is outgoing, or upcoming Kevin McCarthy, or before that, Paul Ryan, or before that, Boehner, or whoever it is, these office of the Speaker holds so much power that it takes the ability for rank and file members like myself, or Matt Gaetz, or Jim Jordan, or anybody else to go out there and be a part of the legislative process beyond what you might say is just something that's a part of the protocol that has to get done. We get to have our voice heard, but our words never really make it into a part of the amendment process on these big 4,000, 5,000 page bills that will move forward through the dark of night. Those are really frustrating things that happen, and they're really bad for America. So what is the Republican Party between those that agree with Kevin McCarthy, those that don't agree with him for Speaker, Kevin McCarthy himself, all members, what is actually going on with that to decentralize that power out of the Speaker's office? This is what's going on with it. And I have a list of some of the things in front of me. So number one, just something that's going on, proxy voting right now. Members that don't have to show up to Washington, they can sit in their house, wherever their house is, and just have somebody go on the floor and cast a vote for them. That's going away. Right? That's going away. It will not exist moving forward. And likewise, the committee hearings that we have, those aren't going to be proxy either. They're going to be in person. We have to show up and do the work, which is what I've been saying all along. We've done videos on it for quite a long time. There's something that we're putting forward now called the 72-hour rule. Now, the 72-hour rule, that's still not a lot of time for some of the bills that go through here, thousands of pages of bills, but a bill will not be voted on without being presented in its full text to everybody at least 72 full hours before that bill is going to have a vote on it. No more. It's going to be dropped at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and they're going to have us vote on it at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's not going to take place. There's going to be a real opportunity to digest what is actually in that. Now, something that's peripheral to that, but also equally important, is the term that I would use is germaneness, right? Whether something actually belongs in the bill is on one issue. Let's say border security or national defense. Those are linked. But somebody's going to put something that attaches to that that's related to shark fins or something totally unrelated. That shouldn't be taking place. And that's how these bills end up being 4 or 5, 6,000 pages long, because of all these things that are added to a bill are not germane to what we're actually dealing with. We're going to have germaneness rules about that they're a one issue bill, so that hopefully everybody back home, that there's still going to be a level of legalese in all of these bills that make it difficult to read, but at least it's this one subject. You can understand what's actually happening with that. That's going to take place. And doing that takes power out of whoever the speaker is. It takes power out of that speaker's office, because they can't attach things to it. They have to be of that issue that's happening in that way. There's some other things. Calendar Wednesday is what it's been called here on Capitol Hill. But basically, it means that we as members, and let's say there's a bill that's sitting there, and this is the bill. We should be able to go out there and offer amendments to that bill and say, I think the bill would be better if we changed the words like this, or added something different in this way that's germane to that bill, that matters to that bill. Right now, we don't get to do that. We haven't got to do that under Pelosi, under Ryan, under Boehner, under whoever else. That wasn't taking place for, I don't know, so let's say 100 years at least. That hasn't been taking place. What's going to happen moving forward? We're going to have that ability to actually go down to the floor, say, here's my amendment on that bill. Now let's have an up or down vote from all of the members in Congress about whether they agree with that amendment that's related to that bill, to hopefully make things better for America, for we the people. Hasn't existed for 100 years. That's going back in place. That's very important. Another thing that's going on, this is something that I've been big on. Unauthorized programs. Right now, there's, let's say, somewhere around 1,100 unauthorized programs. That is to say, Congress wasn't debating these programs, deciding whether these programs were good for America, evaluating whether they've been effective, whether they're good use of your taxpayer dollars, totally unauthorized, that have been funded year after year after year. I vote against these programs. The State Department has not been reauthorized since I've been in Congress. That's how you find these dollars, your tax dollars, going to places overseas to build things in other countries, pay for other people's food, secure other people's borders, you name it. That's taking place. And it's not even authorized. 1,100 programs over that, close to a $500 billion to $1 trillion of spending of your money. That's not even authorized. So there's something that we're putting forward now called this used to be in place. It's called the Army Rule. It's after a former member a long time ago named Dick Armey. And this is basically to say that if there's an unauthorized program and they're looking to appropriate it, any one of us can simply basically write a letter and say that that program that they're looking to fund that hasn't been authorized, that needs to be pulled. And that's something that we will be exercising. So these are a few of the examples of what's going on in the battle here in Washington right now to decentralize power out of one office and make Washington function the way that it is supposed to function, where all members that are duly elected get to have a real say in the policy that is affecting every single American. So in that, I'm going to give you all more of an update as we move forward with what's going on with the speaker vote and other things. But I wanted to give you all that update about what's going on with, I think, what people could call the power struggle in Washington. And that's the power of whether one individual office will hold control over all duly elected 435 members of the House, or if we're going to have that equal say-so as duly elected members of the House. In that, I'll tell you this, it is an honor. It is an honor to be able to represent you. I look forward to being sworn in again soon. Look forward to talking to you all again soon. And I wish you all the best.